Hello, and today's learning target is I can write an equation and graph in point-slope form. Today we are going to introduce a new form of linear equations. It is called point-slope form. Instead of being able to tell the slope and y-intercept from the equation, we will be able to tell a point on the line and the slope. So this form, point-slope form, it represents a linear equation just as how slope-intercept form did as well. And this is the second form of linear equations that we'll learn about, and we'll learn a third one as well, but that will be at a later time, and that one's called standard form. So if we look a little bit closer here at point-slope form, I'm going to zoom in. It states that the form is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity, that means parentheses, and inside those parentheses is x minus x1. So this y sub 1, y little 1, or y1, that right here, that is the y value from an ordered pair. M represents the slope, that's nothing new that we know about, and x1 represents the x value from the ordered pair. So when we're given a point, xy, we'll be able to figure that out just based on this equation and this form. And we'll also be able to tell the slope just based on this form. The nice thing about this form is that when we are given a slope and a point, we can go straight to an equation. So it's really easy to plug in those values into the into the point slope form, and then we'll be able to easily graph that line as well. So let's take a look at the first example. Given the point and slope, we'll write an equation in point slope form and graph. So let's look at what we're given here. 5, negative 2. So this is the x coordinate and this is the y coordinate. And m equals 3, which when we graph that with rise over run is 3 over 1. And let's recall what point slope form is. It's y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And again, it's really important that we know that there's subtraction signs there and not addition signs. So that will also have an effect when we plug in the values into the formula or into the form. So I'm going to plug in negative 2 in for y1. So y minus negative 2. Now, I see two negatives in a row, so that tells me I need to change that. That's chop chop, and that actually changes to a positive 2, right? Because we're just plugging in the value that we're given, and it already has a subtraction sign in the form, so two negatives together make a positive. Equals m, which is 3, times x minus, and then here I'm just plugging in 5. So this is my formula. Y plus 2, let's fix that a little bit, so y plus 2 equals 3 times the quantity, x minus 5. And now I'll graph this equation. So I'm just going to use the point 5, negative 2. I'm going to plot that point right there at 5, negative 2. And I'm just going to move according to the slope. So up 3 units over 1. Up 3 units over 1. Or I could reverse that and go down 3 units to the left 1. Down 3 units to the left 1. And again, I should get a straight line. Whoops. And that's how to write an equation in point slope form and then graph it. Let's look at the next few examples. All right, so let's look at this first example up here. I'm given the point 3, negative 4. So again, I could label if I wanted to x and y, and then m is equal to 1/4. So into point slope form, and again, I'm going to write down the formula. And then I'm going to plug in my values into the equation. So y minus negative 4, and those two negatives will turn to a plus, equals m, which is 1/4 times x minus 3. So my point slope form will be y plus 4 equals 1/4 times the quantity, x minus 3. Now I'll go ahead and graph that over at the graph on the right, and I'm going to graph the point 3, negative 4. Then I'm going to move according to my slope. Up 1 unit over 4. Or I could reverse that and go down 1 unit to the left 4. Again, down 1 unit to the left 4. And I should get a straight line if I graph that correctly, which I did. All right, let's continue on to the next example. Okay, so we are given the point 0, 6, so that's x, and that's y, and m equals -2. So I'm going to write down the formula for point slope form again, and I'm going to plug in my values. So y minus 6 equals -2 times the quantity x minus 0. And now x minus 0 is just x. So I can actually write that as y minus 6 equals -2x. So that's my point slope form. So if I go ahead and graph over at the right, I'm going to graph the point 0, 6, and then move according to my slope. Down 2 units, then to the right 1, down 2 units to the right 1, or I could reverse that and go up 2 units to the left 1, up 2 units, and to the left 1. Connect that to make my straight line, and there I've got it. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.